Welcome back to a new segment of Berrien Birders. I'm Matt.
And I'm Josh.
Today we're going to do some virtual birding. That we're going to play this clip from between the piers here in Southwest Michigan, where the St. Joe River empties into Lake Michigan, and it's about 30 seconds. And just watch it, see how many birds you can identify. We're going to talk through it after. And there we go. There was 30 seconds. Let's start identifying birds.
All right.
Josh, you want to go first?
First thing that stands out to me are just like the black and white birds towards the front of the image in the foreground with the spots. And we may or may not have talked about these or touched on these before, but I believe those are common goldeneye.
Common goldeneye
And
that we've got a
yeah,
whole video discussing how to ID these birds. There's a bunch of males here kind of throughout the track. There's also some females here as well, which there's a scop in the front. We'll talk about the female scop in a moment. But the female goldeneye don't have the white body that the males do. They have a gray body, just kind of a dark head. Here's another one with a little bit of yellow on the bill. You're kind of identifying the female goldeneye based mainly on shape.
yeah, and that's what I look at with goldeneye. If you look at the males in the front, they're just that head shape is pretty distinctive. That kind of big dome look, and then that how it kind of slopes down into the bill. So that's the first bird I see. And yeah, you look at some of the females that definitely look different than the males. They've kind of got that chocolate brown head, and then like you said, the gray body, but definitely. A different looking bird. And then you mentioned the scaup, so that's another bird that I see in this image. There's a female that you've mentioned. I don't know. Do we see males in this picture as
There's
well?
one male here on the left as well, kind of
Oh
is
yeah.
the
Okay.
of greater scop of kind of that rounded head, big wide head. I'm going to back up the video a second so we can kind of keep our eyes on the pair of scop, which start in the middle of the frame here, and then they're going to kind of diverge as the female goes right and the male goes left. I'm
Yep. Okay.
sure they're not making any comments about each other.
Right. So yeah, those I think and based on the head shape for those scaup, I'm looking at looks like the peak is towards the front of the kind of a rounded head. So those are looking like greater scaup. Um, Moving on past those, if you look behind the ice, I'm looking at another similar looking duck that you're circling right now. It's got kind of a white spur and it looks like it's sleeping.
Oh.
And that bird, based on that white spur, I'm going to say is a ringneck duck.
I agree 100% that when you're identifying ducks, and we're going to have a lot of ducks coming through in these next couple of months, that you want to know where the white is on a bird because white stands out at great distance. That you can see with a lot of these birds, just kind of the goldeneye are black and white. The ringneck duck has that peaky crown and then the black back gray side with this bright white spur. That white stands out. That Roger Tory Peterson, when he first wrote his field guide to the birds of the East in the middle of the Great Depression, no less, it was entirely black and white, and which was kind of consistent with the lousy optics of the time, where even people IDing birds just naked eye of what do you see in terms of just basic patterns that just kind of that shape, that white spur in front stands out. That's a ringneck duck. Less common on the Great Lakes, on the big lakes. A lot more common in small
Yeah,
inland ones where there'll be one of the dominant species in a month or so.
absolutely. Moving on, I think the very back right, I thought I saw some mergansers.
There are some mergansers. We'll circle back to them, but let's talk about something that we've been ignoring for much of our time of doing these videos, which is gulls,
Yeah,
specifically
right
an
in the middle.
immature gull, which is something that makes many people run for the hills and say, "I'm going to hide my eyes for my protection and the birds." This is a young great black-backed gull that you see an all-dark bill. That most of our herring gulls and the ring-billed gulls are going to have bicolored bills. There's going to be a decent amount of pink at the base and dark out towards the tip. This bird has an all-dark bill. Another thing about great black-backed gulls, you get all this black and white spangling in a young one. That a young lesser black-backed gull looks a lot more like a young herring gull. But great black-backed gull has a lot of this black and white patterning, which is fairly unique as far as young gulls go.
You don't see the black and white on a young herring gull, correct?
Correct. A young herring gull is going to be a lot grayer. It's going to have a lot more brown. And the other thing is that all dark bill, when this bird turns its head, a herring gull is going to have pink at the base of the bill. And this bird has a pretty much an entirely dark bill, which is one of the things that you use to, yeah, just have a bird pop out at you to say, you know what, that's different from our typical herring gulls. And as you look closer, this turns out to be a young great blackback gull.
Now, can you use size? I know this bird's alone, so size is irrelevant. But if this bird was next to some other gulls, I know this is the largest gull in the world, right? The great
Yeah,
blackback gull.
these will be noticeably bigger than anything except a glaucous gull. Glaucous gull, which is apparently a myth this year in southern Lake Michigan. Um, they're a very similar size and weight, but blackback gull is going to stand above the herring gulls that's going to be with. It's going to show a noticeably bulkier, heavier body, and will be dominant over them. They'll move the herring gulls off of fish if they find something on the beach that they want. They're like mine, and it's fairly clear that it's because they're just bigger.
They're massive, man. These things sometimes you get an adult, and that black and white plumage is just striking.
You think it's an eagle. Yeah,
Yeah,
before you just kind of look up naked eye like, oh, eagle. No, it's like, okay, well, it's a great blackback gull, just a great blackback gull. But they have a wingspan that's going to be comparable to a red-tailed hawk.
just enormous birds.
They're cool. And the final bird that Josh alluded to is that there is a Drake red-breasted merganser here in the corner with its peaky cap. I think there's going to be another one here at the in the lower left-hand corner. But if you want to hear more about mergansers, stay tuned for our next video.
All right, like, comment, subscribe.
We'll see you next week.